because the Wolves are one of the few teams that didn't switch a lot, at least in the playoffs. And I do know that Tom Thibodeau is really trying to get versatility into the roster. That's been his big buzzword all off season. And I think that he wants to have a roster that at least presents him that possibility. And that's why, they really would like Bielitsa back, or even more so a Tolliver, a Dante Cunningham, guys like that who can guard really 2 through 4 or 5, depending on who the 5 is, and give them an ability to scramble and help and cover up for other weaknesses on the team. And so, will Tibbs actually abandon ice and go to a full-on switch everything type of defense? I don't know that, but it will at least give him some wrinkles to add to the game plan when things weren't working. That's what he wants. I think he felt like he had to stick to his principles, even more so than he usually does, just given the people that he had on his team and the limitations defensively of some of the guys on the roster. So, adding a Kogi, adding Bates-Diop, adding a Tolliver Cunningham-like player would help give him more options to explore, and I think he would explore those options.
From Dave Cook, what's the realistic best expectations a Wolves fan can have for Rose?
I think that he can be best case scenario, he stays healthy, and he is a quality offensive spark plug off the bench that does bring them some defensive toughness and gets out into the open court a little bit more. He is not a guy, I don't think, at this stage of his career who can play 33 minutes a night. I think he's really looks like, as things stand right now, that he fills more of the Jamal Crawford role than, say, stepping in as a true point guard and limiting Tyus Jones' minutes. I know there's a lot of Tyus fans who are worried about how this affects the way that he's going to play. And I think that Tom Thibodeau is looking at scenarios that include Tyus and Jamal, or Tyus and Derek playing in the same backcourt, because Rose can be more of an offensive-minded guy and Tyus can be more of the playmaker. Now, if Okogie sort of flashes and shows that he's ready for more early, then maybe you could see more of a Rose-Okogie backcourt, and maybe Tyus does take a step back on that. But that's a rookie. That's putting the cart before the horse. But I think if you can get 25 minutes of Derrick Rose being disruptive and getting out in the open floor and getting to the basket, that's probably a pretty good start.
From John Coffey, is there much chance of getting Tolliver to sign with the Wolves?
There is chance. I've spoke to his camp. He certainly has interest in the Wolves and coming back here, which is good to hear. There are some guys who just aren't interested in playing for the Timberwolves and are going to look elsewhere. But Tolliver absolutely is open to the idea of returning to Minnesota. He really did like it here when he was here last time. There's no qualms about playing for Tom Thibodeau. And so I do think that he's open to the idea. Now, he is, we're recording this on Monday. He is meeting with the Clippers in Dallas, and so they will put on a full court press, and it depends on how much money they can offer and things like that. But if the Wolves do want him, they're going to have to get in here pretty soon, be aggressive, and let him know that they do want him.
Couple more questions. Again, download if you can. Email me if you'd like to advertise with the program. Check out Talk North for all of our shows, including the Cheryl Reeve Show. From your favorite handle, Juan Stockton, are the Wolves even a playoff team now? LA pushes at least 6 teams down, and Minnesota doesn't really have cap room to improve.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a fight. There's no doubt. And Tibbs has said that even going into the draft. Before that, he said, the West is not for the faint of heart. And so their big challenge is that the Lakers have gotten better, the Mavericks have gotten better. Those are 2 teams that were below them and out of the playoffs. And so that's going to be really difficult, because if teams ahead of them, if Houston, Golden State, even Portland, Utah are adding to their roster and getting better, that hurts the Wolves and their chances to climb up the ladder in the Western Conference, but it's not. It doesn't really maybe jeopardize them having in the playoffs at all. with the Lakers making big moves like they're making, and Dallas getting better, and Denver expected to get better. Man, it's going to be a daunting challenge now. I mean, now they are going to have to be scratching and clawing and fighting for everything that they have. And I think that 3 teams you look at as possibilities to fall back certainly are the Wolves one, the Blazers, who have done little to nothing to improve their lot this summer, and New Orleans, depending on how Cousins comes back and what happens there. But they're going to be holding on for dear life here, and they absolutely need Jimmy Butler to play like 70 games, or else they're going to be in real trouble.
From Reggie Peterson, thoughts on trading Teague. Tyus is a slight downgrade from Teague, but much better salary. Trading Teague lets us keep Wiggins and re-up Butler.
Well, I mean, trading Teague absolutely would free up a little bit of room for them financially in terms of avoiding the luxury tax and things like that. But I think Jeff Teague is a Tom Thibodeau point guard. I don't know that Tyus Jones is a Tom Thibodeau point guard, and so I don't see that happening where Teague is moved and Tyus ascends to the starting spot. If halfway through the year they get close to the February trade deadline and Rose has stayed really healthy and is playing really well, and Tibbs trusts him to ascend to that starting point guard spot, I could maybe see Teague moved, but Tibbs has been very complimentary of Jeff Teague. He's really invested in making Jeff Teague a success after trading Ricky Rubio and signing him. So I don't see that as much of an option.
Final thought from John coming up. Again, check out talknorth.com for this and all the shows. Download if you get a chance. Listen on your favorite podcast app. Thanks to TSR Injury Law, 612-TSR-TIME. Tony Hoagland, your State Farm agent in Champlin, HOAGLUND, and SodaStick.com or SodaStickCO.com for their curling stuff, also their basketball and stuff, all their sports stuff. Final thought from John.
Yeah, we're getting into deal-making mode time. I mean, the Wolves have to start shoring somebody up and getting someone in the house because too many teams are getting better around them. And so whether it's Bielitsa, whether it's Tolliver, whether it's somebody else, whether they swing a trade to land somebody, what we have seen is kind of what the Wolves feared going into this, that the West was only going to get tougher and only going to get loaded up more. And so as much as Derrick Rose helps on a 1-year veteran minimum deal, they need a heck of a lot more. So it's time to get going here.